You are taken back in time and history when you visit this place. The beautiful scenery in Connecticut connects the past to the present. Let's look together at the 20 most important historical places in Connecticut. The Sacred Halls of Yale University and the maritime past of Mystic Seaport are two examples of these places. These buildings are not just things we see, they are living pieces of our country's past, full of stories of bravery, invention, and cultural heritage. Let's go on this trip together and find out about the exciting things that Connecticut has done throughout its past. Number 20. It is a high Victorian Gothic building built in 1878 that is not only beautiful to look at, but also has many fun things to do. This building is where Connecticut's government's executive and parliamentary parts are based. Not only politicians should go to the United States Capitol, but anyone interested in government should also go to see the beautiful buildings and historical items that are there. Number 19. The Copper Mine and Old Newgate Prison. When you walk into this place, you feel like you've been taken back to two different times in U.S. history. Beginning in 1705, this East Granby landmark was built as the first copper mine in the colonies to be given a charter. It was turned into the first state jail in the whole country after some time. The creepy caves below were home to people who lived there and told their stories. If you read these stories, you might learn about the darker sides of colonial life and the early years of the American prison system. Number 18. The Hill-Stead Museum. This Farmington colonial Renaissance house is more than just a beautiful example of an old building. It is also an essential piece of history. A stunning collection of art from the French Impressionist style can be found here. The museum used to be the primary home of the Pope family when it was first built. The mansion, built in the early 1900s and now seen as a cultural treasure, has paintings by Monet, Degas, Whistler, and other artists on show. Number 17. The historic area of Sharon. The fact that Sharon has kept houses from the 18th and 19th centuries is one of the things that makes it so beautiful. These beautiful houses in Connecticut give us a look into the state's architectural and historical past. The homes, churches, and public buildings in this area that have been well taken care of are great examples of New England's past. They show how buildings were made and how people lived together in living spaces hundreds of years ago. Number 16. The Groton Monument and Fort Griswold Battlefield State Park. Many big stones have been put down to remember the brave men who died at Groton Heights during the Revolutionary War. The Groton Monument and Park not only honor this important battle, but also show how strategically important the area was in the fight for American freedom. Number 15. The Litchfield Historic District. A walk through the Litchfield Historic District will make you feel like you're in a late 1700s Maine town. This place shows how the layout of these colonial American villages and homes was planned, making it like a live museum. In Litchfield, there are examples of well-kept homes, public buildings, and the green that has been the center of town for hundreds of years. In these places, you can see how people used to live. Number 14. There is a big difference between the Glass House and the colonial and Gothic buildings we have seen. It is in the town of New Canaan. Looking at it, it seems very modern. Many people know Philip Johnson as the famous builder who made this modernist gem his home. This work, which was finished in 1949, is a study of how to be clear and straightforward. Because it is made of glass, it is tough to tell the difference between the inside and outside of the building. Because of this, it is an integral part of the past of the building. Number 13. The Peabody Museum of Natural History. On the campus of Yale University, the Peabody Museum is more than just a place to see natural events and human past. It's like going on a trip through space and time. The museum has a lot of different kinds of ancient artifacts on show, from fossilized dinosaurs to Egyptian artifacts. It tells a lot of different stories about people and the wild world. These factors make it a great place to learn, not just for workers, but also for regular people. Number 12. The Henry Whitfield State Museum is in a very old house in New England. New England is home to this museum. This building was made of stone and was built in 1639. There are stories and items from many different times in the Henry Whitfield State Museum that show how people lived in the early days of settlement. There is a real link to the state's early days here, and it also shows how well buildings from the early colonies have stood the test of time. Number 11. Fort Trumbull State Park has been built near New London to monitor the Thames River since the Revolutionary War. Inside its walls, you can see how military buildings and gear changed during World War II. Many people come to this museum and park to learn about the past of Connecticut's military and navy, and to enjoy the views of the river and the area. Number 10. The New England Air Museum. At the New England Air Museum in Windsor Locks, planes show how flying has changed over time in Connecticut. The state has made important contributions to the history and technology of aviation. Its large collection of planes, which includes early flights and modern jets, is proof of this. Thanks to hands-on exhibits and old planes, people of all ages can enjoy learning about flying. Number 9. The Harriet Beecher Stowe Center is the name of one of the places in Hartford. This house is where the author, whose work started a movement, lives. The Harriet Beecher Stowe Center does more than just host events. It also takes care of the house where Stowe lived. It's also a spot where people can meet to talk about problems of fairness and equality. Uncle Tom's Cabin, the famous book she wrote, was a big part of ending slavery. At the moment, this place is essential to the social and literary past of the United States. Number 8. The Weir Farm National Historic Site. This makes it clear how the Impressionist painter J. Alden Weir saw the beauty of the United States of America. For art from the United States, Weir Farm is the only public park in the country that is all about art. The scenes of the home, workshop, and country that Weir and other artists of his time found fascinating are being kept safe. People can learn new things and broaden their minds by going to this place, which has art, animals, and history all in one place. Number 7. The Mystic Aquarium is one of the 7 things to do. While the aquarium houses sea life, it also holds other things. Besides that, it does a lot to teach and protect, especially when it comes to keeping marine history alive and keeping marine life safe. Many people go to the aquarium for more than one reason. One reason is that the shows and activities help protect the marine environment for future generations. Number 6. The Wadsworth Atheneum in Hartford is the oldest public art gallery in the United States. It's in the middle of Connecticut and gives us a clue about civilization's past. There is a huge collection of art from more than 5,000 years ago. Most of it is by Americans and Europeans. It was first used for the first time in 1842. The art in this museum shows how it can be used to teach, inspire, and connect people from different times and places. Number 5. Old State House. People who visit the Old State House in Hartford will feel like they have gone back in time as soon as they walk in. The building of this State House in 1796 makes it one of the oldest in the United States. It has seen many important events in the past of both Connecticut and the country as a whole. Many displays in this building talk about Connecticut's political and social past up to the present day. You can use it to help you understand how the American government works. Number 4. Fourth, Gillette Castle State Park. Gillette Castle, which has a view of the beautiful Connecticut River, was built as a tribute to William Gillette's strange skills. Gillette was best known for playing Sherlock Holmes on stage. One of the most famous performers in the United States had a castle and grounds that are very interesting to look at because they show what went through his thoughts. The architects tried to make them look like a Gothic castle from the Middle Ages. History buffs and nature lovers will enjoy a trip there because it has unique buildings and beautiful natural scenery. Number 3. The House and Museum of Mark Twain. 2 of Mark Twain's best-known books, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, were written in the house he owned in Hartford. Samuel Clemens signed them. After years of careful upkeep, this Victorian estate has been turned into a museum that showcases the life and work of one of the best American writers. Everyone who loves books should see it, no matter where they are. Number 2. The Mystic Seaport. This is the biggest marine museum in the United States. A lot of information about the past of the United States of America at sea is in it. Over 100 ships have been rebuilt, and the town of Mystic Seaport is meant to look like it did in the 1800s. These bring back to life the good times and the hard times of living at sea in the past. You can not only learn about history there, but you can also live it. There's only one place in the world where you can see the changes over time. Number 1. The University of Yale is one of the oldest schools and colleges in the United States. That building has been there since 1701 and is a very important place for architecture and society. Many historic buildings and museums on the university campus show that the school has a long history of promoting learning, study, and cultural preservation. Just walking around the Yale campus makes you feel like you're going back in time hundreds of years to see how ideas and buildings have changed and improved. It's a must-see for anyone interested in U.S. history or schooling. We're almost done with our tour of Connecticut's famous landscapes. Somewhat of the past is in the breeze, and we hope that you have seen traces of the past in the bright sunlight. Many of the sights we've seen show that people have always been brave and willing to try new things. This is clear from the beautiful form of the glass house and the historically essential echoes at Fort Trumbull. Always remember that the places we visit are not the only places with the past. Besides that, it's about the things people leave behind and the stories that the places they leave behind tell. It was great to have you with us as we toured 20 of the most important places in Connecticut. Until we meet again, I encourage you to learn more about and be amazed by the rich tapestry of our shared past. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel and make sure to check out the link to Hidden Treasures, Arizona's 20 Small Town Wonders.